everyone. In the Russell Westbrook trade, they got three really great players in return for the Lakers. You got Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, and Malik Beasley. Now, we've talked about Jared Vanderbilt. We've talked about D'Angelo Russell. I wanted to talk about Malik Beasley because he is a guy that is a piece that the Lakers have needed for some time. I highly recommend you check out the other two videos. I'll even link those videos down in the description below. Go check them out after this video, the one on D'Angelo Russell, the one on Jared Vanderbilt. But talking about Malik Beasley, he is a shooter, dead-eye shooter, a guy of volume and good, solid percentage. This is a guy that can shoot it, knock it down, 40% clip. He is 7th in the league in made threes. He's also a guy that is in a very sort of elite category as far as like volume and players. Him and D'Angelo Russell are both guys that have shot over 350 threes and shot at a high percentage clip. You have him in the top 10, which is really good. He's a guy that can really light it up. He can be streaky at times, don't get me wrong. He is a guy that we saw even last night, right? 0 of 6, although a lot of that kind of equate just to the first game, right? He's trying to make an appearance. He's trying to ball out. Jared Vanderbilt was killing it. You saw D'Angelo Russell absolutely killing it. And so I think Malik Beasley, he took a couple shots that I'm sure even he wanted to have back. He kind of forced couple shots that he usually doesn't force. And I think it was just he wanted to kind of show like, oh, look, this is why you came and got me. I do think he will settle in more. I do think he's a guy that can light it up. But you'll see him on many occasions. He'll go like 5 of 6 from 3, or he'll go like 2 of 7 from 3. And that's what happens with high volume 3-point shooters, right? You get guys that shoot high volume, and what ends up happening is they have nights where they're just lights out and they just can't miss. Or they're guys that, they struggle and, you get an 0 for 6 game. It happens. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. He's a guy that's still extremely young. 26 years old. There's room to improve. There's room to grow. He's just getting ready to enter his prime in the next 2 years. Good size at 6'4", good length, good, good instincts in many ways. Not an elite defender, but he is a serviceable one. Even last night, he had a couple moments where he was just decent. Again, not elite. There's a big difference. A lot of people think if you're not elite, then you're not very good. There's very few elite defenders in the NBA. Most guys are just serviceable and play within the scope of team defense. And that's what Beasley can give you. Beasley is a guy that at least try, he at least attempts, he does his best to move his feet and stay in front of guys, right? I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't even attempt to do that, right? Or they'll just kind of pretend, let a guy blow by him, and it's like, oh, that's it. No, Beasley's a guy that'll at least continue to do what he can. But he's a guy that, again, shoots. He's a 38% career 3-point shooter. The guy averages about 8 to 9 threes per game, high volume. He's averaging about 13 points per game this year for Utah, which if that can translate to the Lakers, that is beautiful. He very likely is going to be the guy coming off the bench because the Lakers like the idea of him as a shooter off the bench. He's also a guy that the Lakers have control over for some time. He's a guy that I think will be noticeable at times because the beauty is, and you even saw it in last night's game, right? Even when he's not making shots, teams still have to get out and contest because they know that he can make shots and they know that if he gets going, it could be trouble. And that is a huge thing that the Lakers just really haven't had, right? The Lakers haven't really had for a while a guy that can just knock it down at an elite clip that is going to draw out the defense, and teams are going to have to rush to go get and close out on that player, which then opens up so much. And you're going to see that with guys like D'Angelo Russell, like Beasley, when Dennis Schroeder is knocking down his shots like he was. You have Austin Reeves. We're starting to put together several guys that can knock down the three ball. And even like Lonnie Walker, even Troy Brown. Troy Brown's been pretty consistent from three this year. But again, he can even be kind of streaky at times. But it's the combination of guys, right? It's having a guy like Beasley who can shoot 9 threes a game and shoot at a 40% clip or a 38% clip. I mean, even if he's shooting 35%, that's better than like 90% of what we had that we just unloaded. And he's also a guy that can operate at all three levels. And we saw it last night, right? He wasn't knocking down the three ball, but we saw a couple times where he was able to step in and the defense had to go and collapse and he was able to kick it out. Another time he was able to knock down the mid-range. The mid-range is so valuable and so important come the playoffs because teams rush and try to close out on threes a lot harder than they do in the regular season. Teams try to lock down and shut down the paint a lot during the playoffs. So what that does is that allows the mid-range to really be a place of operation. And the Lakers now have a lot of guys that can operate in the mid-range. And look at most of the teams in the league that usually are the better upper echelon of teams and usually the teams that go into the deeper runs. Think of like Milwaukee. They have several guys that can operate in the mid-range. Think of Boston, the Suns, right? All of these teams have these guys, the Warriors even, all these guys can operate and knock it down from the mid-range, which is a very valuable asset. So now to have a guy, Dennis Schroeder, right? D'Angelo Russell, even LeBron James can knock it down at the mid-range. Anthony Davis. We even saw Jared Vanderbilt last night knocking down some mid-ranges. Rui Hachimura lives in the mid-range. That his midi is just absolute butter, right? And now we have a guy in Beasley. Austin Reeves. I mean, the list goes on and on for guys that they can take a step in and knock it down or shoot off the dribble or we didn't have all of this versatility before. And Beasley is a guy that's really going to be able to open just so much for the Lakers. Even nights when he's not knocking down shots, even nights when he is struggling and it's just not his night. Like last night just wasn't his night. And part of it is probably jitters. Part of it is just 4 shots he did. He had at least 3 of his 6 shots were clearly forced. Whether he was rushing them or just shouldn't have taken the shot, but he took it anyway, which I don't mind. You're there, take the shot. That's why the Lakers went and got you. Shoot the ball, right? You knock down 1 or 2 of those, all of a sudden, you see the ball go in the hoop, you're good. I expect Beasley to do that, and he was smart. He was able to. There was that play where he had the ball. He was able to kind of get the fake, get into the lane, draw, and then pull up from the mid-range and knocked it down. I'm okay with that. A guy that can get to all 3 spots, all 3 levels, and just operate and score. We got guys now that can do that. Last night was just a beautiful game, right? I mean, everything, the ball movement, it just looked like a fresh young team. It just looked exciting. And I'm really excited to see how they go forward. And Malik Beasley is going to be a huge piece for this team and gives us a guy that we really haven't had since KCP, right? That guy that can just knock it down at a great level. And once LeBron's there and once everybody kind of builds that chemistry and know each other's spots and know where they're supposed to be on the floor and all those things, you're going to see Beasley, I think, be a lot more effective, right? Especially with LeBron. Because LeBron's just going to draw so much attention. He loves to just drive and kick out to shooters. Beasley's going to be able to spot up in the corner and just operate and just knock down threes. And if he can shoot at an efficient high clip, he's gonna have some really good games. I would not be surprised at all if you see multiple games where he's 5 of 7 or 6 of 8 or something like that from the 3-point line, because he's just gonna get such good looks. He had a couple good looks. He had like 2 or 3 shots that just were like almost halfway in and just came out. And again, sometimes you have nights like that, especially when you're a shooter. When you're a shooter, you live and die by the shot. But it's the consistency. And that's what I think Beasley's going to bring. For every one night like he had last night, he's going to have 3 or 4 where he shoots, 36, 37, 38, 39%, maybe even better. And he's going to really help elevate it. Like one of the big things that I said for a while was that I didn't think one shooter would change the Lakers. And I mean, I still don't. And that's why I'm glad we didn't just get one shooter, right? You got Beasley. You got now D'Angelo Russell, who we saw him knock down some shots and just be able to attack on multiple levels. Rui Hachimura has been shooting the 3 ball great lately. Dennis Schroeder's been shooting the 3 ball better. You have Austin Reeves, who's back. He's been shooting the 3 ball well. Lonnie Walker, he's been shooting the 3 ball well. You even have Reed, who we'll talk about in a video later on. He's somebody that can knock down the 3 if you need to. The Lakers now have 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that can all knock down the 3 ball at a good, consistent clip. We didn't really have that, right? Like, or you had moments where like guys would go on streaks. If LeBron can kind of get out of his shooting slump, he's had nights where he just can't miss from 3. But in general, he hasn't been great from 3, right? So if he can kind of get out of his slump, all of a sudden we could easily go from a bottom feeding 3-point shooting team to like a good, respectable 3-point shooting team. We don't even have to be elite. I mean, when we won the championship in 2020, we were only 34% from 3. So it wasn't like we were this like elite 3-point shooting team. We just had a couple guys that could shoot at a decent clip. Your KCP, your Danny Greens, your Kyle Kuzmas, like guys like that were able to knock down the 3. Well, we got 3, 4, 5 guys that can do that and knock it down at a good, efficient clip. So the Lakers are going to be in a really good position. The Lakers are going to they're going to feast with Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley is definitely, in my opinion, going to be a bit of a standout. I think he's going to be a guy that you're really going to notice. He's going to have those big games. But again, like all shooters, you have your good nights, you have your bad nights. But he's a guy that I'm really excited the Lakers picked up. And I really think that he's going to kind of round out that our new sort of, big 3 or big 3 that we got from Russ. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think of Malik Beasley? Do you like him? Do you not? Are you excited for the pickup and acquisition? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.